Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Realnesss with three S's. This is the weekend edition, and I am here with my Big Brother Canada Cheesecake 4 co-host. We got Mr.
Jonathan Oliveira.
And we got Mr.
Jojo O'Toole.
Looking both as handsome as ever on this wet, dreary Saturday.
Thank you. I don't wear glasses on weekends, so you're getting me sans glasses.
Ooh, is that where the charm is over there? It's like you can really connect with your eyes.
Exactly. Yeah. Sure, my dog.
So I was thinking of doing this special weekend edition because of the fact that like a lot's kind of been going on, and I didn't want to wait all the way till next week Thursday and just kind of, you know, it's like old news, like the drama that happened a week ago. So I thought like we cut in during the week. We have nothing else really to do. We might as well cover some cake. So we can start off like on December. Day 17th.
Going back.
It's December 17th.
We might still be playing it.
It feels like that long.
Oh my God. It's like the long version. It's like the 1 year long version of Big Brother Cheesecake. So Kat's head of household, and she's in the accounting firm group. And Brazil, Ryan, and Brandon are also going to be safe for the week. Yep. So Lisa, of course, didn't want to go quietly, and Miss Lisa decides to drag Ryan under the bus, under the Brampton City Essential Service bus. She just threw him right underneath it.
Didn't she?
Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Well, can I skip a little bit? So, in today's video, because this is going to come back to that, Andrew mentioned that it's common knowledge now, apparently, that the bus people did have an alliance. Sorry, the essential workers had an alliance. And
what?
So I mean, it's interesting because I haven't seen any of those actions be played out. They don't seem to be protecting each other. I know, you know, like Marcin didn't use the veto. It was probably for many reasons, but yeah. So I don't know what's going on.
For Transit to actually be able to make a move, they actually have to win a power. So,
and kind of like stick with your alliance too, right?
Well, stick with your alliance too, but I mean, head of household is obviously getting to choose the nominees. But with the veto on Marcin, like if he had taken off one of the Transit, or well, I guess he could have taken off Susie and left Megan up, but that would have put a Transit person up and out. So maybe he felt he was more connected with the other Transit folks. Maybe.
What was interesting too, same video, was that Chad was like involved in the mole stuff. So like Chad's like writing drafts of the roast for Lisa. Now, is it because he knows Lisa that he's like going to offer things that would be a really big zinger? Like how do you think he's getting involved with being the mole? Like, do you think because he wanted to play and be the mole?
Let's make this very clear. All of the Transit people know each other. They all work right next to each other.
Best friends.
They're all best friends. They all go to the gym together. All their baptisms. Obviously, the Transit folks don't have to personally know one another or sit side by side at work to work together. It's a common. Well, it is what they do. They work for Transit Brampton. So, yeah,
Christmas
there is going to be
each other. You know?
Yes.
And I think
that Susie won that draw last month. Or whatever.
Chad probably knows them, or at least some of them, as well as that's just Chad. I think he wants to like, you know, write things about people and roast them and whatnot. So I'm sure he volunteered that, and him and Andrew and the mole worked alongside to perfect it for her. So
has anyone ever seen Chad and Jack in like the same place?
Same time.
Same time.
A little pokeroo situation. I don't know.
But that's really true, though. It's like it's total pokeroo. Maybe Chad has a friend that is the mole, and he's helping one of the Transit people who's the mole. So Ashley actually comes clean with, like, she's like, I'm not the mole, and that she's like, I know I'm a returning player, and I know it looks like that I'm the mole, and she kind of comes clean And I'm like, timing, girl. Like, you should have come clean a long time ago, but whatever.
I mean, I think it's personally, I think Ashley's desperate. She's trying to cling on to something, especially as a returnee. But yeah, you would feel like I would assume that she could very well be the mole.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done what most people do that you see on TV in Big Brother is they kind of keep it to themselves the first couple days because you don't want to be that topic right off the bat that someone can talk about. And then they kind of let everyone know, usually, within the first week or two. So maybe she kind of held out a little too long. But the sooner the better with telling everyone because they're going to find out and they're going to know that you were keeping something from them the whole time.
Well, exactly. Like I'd be like, oh, perfect. I have a new reason to target somebody. Like,
there you go.
Like, let's get him out. So the vote was 8-3-1. He clarified it again, but I feel like when he clarified it, it's more confusing. So I don't know. 8 votes was for Kat to have the head of household. 3 were for Ashley and 1 was for CJ. So he thought it was really interesting, and I do too, that there was 5 votes that were outside of the department as well. So it's interesting that Kat has some support from other departments other than her own, because we hadn't really heard that many rumblings about her really in the daily videos.
Yes, I think she seems very social and likable. So I feel like she's probably reached out to many people and made those connections early on.
I mean, I think that's the kind of the safe bet when you are starting the game. You really want to spread yourself a little bit thin to try and garner some genuine relationships and then go from there. So I think that's smart gameplay, personally.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like a lot of people with this, they feel safe with having her as head of household. And so I think that says a lot, which is, it's good for everybody that to have somebody that you feel confident in having this head of household. You know what I mean? So they do prank or no prank, and Ryan has the no prank pass and gets the
final 3 guarantee
of superpowers. Like, what? Like, that's like 50 days of safety or something insane.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably 50 days of safety.
It's like makes it
could
scary,
be.
right? No, it's like
the final 9.
Yeah, there is only 16. So that's 7. I mean, there was already a couple, so there's another 5 eliminations? Another 5 weeks or something?
Okay, take a break, Ryan. Just lay back,
35
relax.
days of just making allies and padding your end game. That's such a blessing, especially because it's such a long game. As Andrew kind of pointed out, it didn't really work well for Netta, but Netta was playing with Cindy, who's always just trying to make a stupid big move that's not good for her actual game, and I could exploit that, you know what I mean? But I think that if Cindy wasn't in that house, I think that Netta would have been fine, because I don't think anybody else would have turned on her other than Cindy, you know what I mean, in that moment. I think she would have been able to maneuver better.
And in the wrong hands, I think a power like that can be detrimental, because people will then play as if they have the safety and they're untouchable. And it's that will come back to potentially get you. So, I mean, with Ryan, he has some experience, obviously, with playing the game. So,
Surprise.
So many surprises for you.
So it's, I think he'll know how to handle that and what to do with it, and not play recklessly like I think some may do if they're like, hey, I'm safe for all these weeks, who cares? But this is pivotal. It's a great asset, but it's a pivotal moment to really kind of build those relationships and play along people and almost make people forget that you have it.
Absolutely, but still be playing. And I think that that's what is probably the most important part of having such a power, where you could just coast by. Actually, don't coast by. Still be padding your resume, or still be making moves, still be playing, because
He knows all that.
In the end game, like when you're up on if you're in the final two, people can be like, well, you had all that safety. You didn't have to play. You didn't have to work to get here. Like, I worked hard to get here. It's kind of like my argument with, if you watch Survivor, Extinction, or what is it called? Edge of Extinction. Like, if someone comes back into the final five, I'm like, I can't let them win. I wouldn't think that it would be appropriate because they weren't playing Survivor. They were playing another version of the game. So I feel like this is similar to that. And so if you continue to be making moves within the game, they can counteract that as being like a talking point against them.
And I mean, with Ryan as well, it's with knowing that you have like 4 or 5 more weeks or whatever, you then know that if you want to cause some stuff, stir the pot, maybe call people out for things, now is the time, because there'll be so much that happens in 4 weeks' time that people will have potentially forgotten about it. Which I don't know, we're on day 18 yet, but that does lead into something that we'll talk about on day 18.
We're on day 18. You can go right into it.
Yeah. So, I mean, day 18, Andrew said that, or kind of read out the argument, the fight that happened within that group. It was, who's there? So it's Brandon, Ryan,
Brazil, and Kat.
Kat? Okay. Those 4.
Yeah. So they the fight was basically,
and Megan. Don't forget about Megan.
Honorary.
Hi, Megan.
So the fight was that I think Ryan went privately to Brandon and said, hey, you haven't talked game to our group in 10 days, ever since Nick was HOH. And yet there was some conflicting kind of things he was saying, like he is building relationships outside of that group, but then yet he's not contributed anything to the group. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great time and then Brandon's the one who suggested that it get brought up in their group setting and not just one-on-one. But I think, it's a good time for that to happen.
Well, I'm sure that it did happen because of the fact that it can't really come back on Ryan.
Sure.
And they're safe this week, so the whole group.
Time is perfect for any rumblings to happen within the accounting department, because they're all safe, so they can't be targeted by at least that round. And one of them would have to win again next week in order for them to take a shot, and they can't take a shot at Ryan. So this would be the time for, if you want to call somebody out, try to find out who the mole is. He can make some big, bold moves, as you're saying, for the fact that, he has so much safety. So things might get a little spicy with this security.
No. I feel as if you don't contribute with people, then you're obviously not collaborating with them, and you're probably doing that with someone else. So to call somebody out publicly, also that you're keeping tabs on people's gameplay, can be a double-edged sword, in my opinion. So good move, Ryan, but also, okay, Ryan's looking at you. Yeah.
With how Andrew gets any information to share in the videos, is it that all their group conversations are completely privy to be spoken about on air, and Andrew can choose whether or not it's too important, or do they say yes? Do they have to agree? I'm just curious as to what the logistics are for how things get shared.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think it's Andrew. I know he has, he's obviously in all those groups. So I think that he sees what's going on and then asks them, and they all have to agree that it can be talked about. But
I know he did withhold some other information. I think that happens in the next video, the next day. But I was curious as to okay, they had this big argument. Did they just have this argument specifically because they knew Andrew was going to bring it to the table? Are they trying to maybe expose them all? So
absolutely, that's what I wrote down.
I love it.
That's what I wrote down too. It's we're safe. Let's fight. Let's make it look like maybe we're not together. Let's maybe make something up entirely that could all be fabricated, just to look like they're not together. They're free agents. They can do, they could join whatever, they're not a strong team, make themselves look weaker in a moment when they're the strongest because they have HOH and
someone safe in their group.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to this, but maybe you two could help me. who are their voices? Who's Ryan's voice and who's Brandon's voice? I don't know what voices that he's doing. They're different from the ones that we had last season. So
Brandon's voice is Stanley Hudson from The Office, and Ryan's voice, I don't remember.
Like, is he trying to do Ryan? Because he watched.
I mean, I think everybody's trying to do Ryan.
Whoa!
Uh-oh.
Okay, is Ryan the thirst trap that we're going to be talking about next day? I couldn't figure out what the voice was. It kind of sounded like, was it Kermit the Frog?
It was kind of like an old man.
It sounded like Ernie.
Kind of, yeah.
Maybe?
I don't know.
Well, okay. Well,
Andrew, answer that for us.
Andrew, can you answer this for us? Who is the voice of Ryan, please? My guess right now is Ernie.
Who is the voice?
Exactly. So they picked. So they did the nominations. Did you have any surprises by Jack and CJ being nominated?
None. Zero.
Me neither.
Guys, come on.
I'm sorry. Brampton Transit people, but I wasn't surprised this was going to happen. I mean, they just started playing too late, and it's too late. Unless they want power, and then they could have changed it around.
Yeah, like Jojo said, you need to win. So I mean, great for having an alliance for once, but you need to be in power, or at least be in favor of those who are in power. Absolutely. And you didn't do either of those things. I don't know.
Exactly. So they picked the players for the veto, also being Brazil, Megan, and Marcin. So it's going to be Jack,
Megan,
PJ, Kat, Brazil, Megan, and Marcin playing the veto competition. So today's info that's kind of going around, the Mole apparently created an Instagram account and posted a picture of Jack, which I thought was interesting choice that they posted a picture of Jack. But I also thought it was funny that Jack didn't understand where they got the image from. It's like Facebook.
I mean, yesterday was really confusing because not only was I followed by Guacamole, I also ended up getting followed by BB Mole. So I feel like unless the Mole's got a couple of split personalities, people are finally taking the next step in some really killer game moves. Thank you for whoever's doing this. I really appreciate it. I love it.
I got followed by no one because last video I gave no information out. So
I think they followed your. I think. Do you have another Instagram account? You too.
No. The dog, but me no. Just one.
Thanks. They followed someone named Jonathan.
So anyways, in this episode, he discusses more so about the 3 curses. And so the first curse being that nobody that's won the first HOH has won the game. As also the first 4 HOHs. At last in the video, first 4 HOHs, both have not won the game. And also who he has been jerking off to on premiere night, it has never won the game, including poor old Michael. So let's speculate. Who do you think is going to be affected by the jizz curse?
The jizz curse.
Can we have a couple guesses, or what is this?
Yeah, of course. Guesses what you want.
I mean, okay, so I will say, and I do know I don't know. Does everyone know this? That last year's was Julian.
I had an idea, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I'm going with Nick, Brandon, Curtis.
Me too. I mean, those 3, 100%. Sorry, boy.
Maybe all at the same time. I don't know.
My top 3 jizz cursed. Do you have any other opinions, or do you agree with those being the 3 main contenders of the jizz curse crown?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, all 3 same time. Go for it, Andrew. That'll break the curse.
He did mention though that him and Ashley went on a date in high school. Like, did Ashley give Netflix and chill before Netflix, of course?
Yeah, and then he's like, and then I went over her house and and did nothing. But yeah.
Damn, okay.
Like they made it made out on like the parents' couch, you know, the basement couch, while the parents are up there making them popcorn or something. You never know.
Never know.
So they also explained the rules of the competition. So I know you had something to say about this competition, Jonathan. What were your
yeah. So what is it called? Survivor Man or something like that?
Correct. Big Brother Survivor Man.
Yeah. So I watched it twice and I have a terrible memory, so I've forgotten already. But it is basically wait, do you know the rules? Do you want to explain it? And then there's a flaw I think I have with it that I want to point out.
What I understand is it's going to be multiple choice rounds. There's going to be 12 rounds, and they're going to publicly display their answer. They have 30 seconds until he says peach pie. When he says peach pie, they have to decide whether they're going to stay or fold. So I guess whether they're correct or their number's correct, depending on what the information is about. If they don't get it within the time he says fudgy
something.
Down. Fudgy
brown, fudgy, I don't know.
Fudgy something. Then they're going to automatically fold. If you fold, you don't get penalized, but you don't get any points. If you stay and you are wrong or the lowest or whatever is the determining factor, that you'd be eliminated, or no? Or you just
yeah, exactly. And so so if you're going to gamble, because we've seen this type of game-ish in Big Brother before, where if you decide to gamble, then you are at risk for being eliminated, but then you get the point. But if you fold, you just hold out. So a lot of people usually kind of fold a little bit and just kind of see where it goes, and then
100%.
But let people get eliminated, so you're not one of the first ones, and then you can see what happens. But my only issue is that if you are ahead of the game, like if you are in first place, because it's all in public, maybe I shouldn't say this because they're going to take this strategy, but you can just copy whoever's below you. So if you have like 5 points and someone has 4 points, if you just copy every time the person with 4 points, unless they're wrong.
I think probably first person that buzzes in would be able to gain the point if they are correct. That's what I would understand is how.
Oh, it's not all of them.
I wouldn't think all of them. I would think the first person that buzzes in correctly
with the point. Okay, that makes more sense.
Get the point.
That makes more sense. I'm like, unless they're wrong, and then they would get eliminated too. But I was like, ooh, it's out in public, right? So the voting is. So the points are if someone gets it, only one person gets it, and they get the point. That makes sense. Okay.
No, exactly. It seems like it would make more sense because, as you're saying, you could easily just copy what the person before said. So.
Hey there, Chantele. It's me, your friend.
What is going on?
The Mole. I have a question. And I really hope you read it on your next video. I know you love drama. Something about this accounting spat really stinks. For someone whose house reputation was all about honesty and transparency, Ryan's acting suspicious of his fellow accountant? Also, where are the others during this whole argument? And if Brandon isn't adding to the eviction discussions, then who's calling the shots here? A certain dynamic duo? You said it yourself. Ryan admitted to being a big-time gamer. Would love to hear your opinion on this one. See you after they get CJ evicted. Or better yet, we will get some sweet backdoor action. You know Andrew loves it in the back door.
Very true.
Oh, and if you want to know who I am, my first name has the letter A in it. So definitely not Nick or Lynn, right? Thanks for keeping it really real.
Okay, I was not expecting that at all. Okay. Well, was that the mole, or was that someone pretending to be the mole? Or, I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot going on. So he talked about a dynamic duo.
So who do you think that
Reference.
they're talking about there? Because obviously that they would have brought us this information because they want it to be exposed.
Yeah, and are these like clues, like dynamic duo, like Batman and Robin? Is there some relation to, like, I don't know.
Is the dynamic duo Ryan and Brandon undercover?
Well, a dynamic duo known on the show The Office, which I did not watch, was Jim and Dwight. Is that right? Maybe.
Yeah, they were frenemies for sure.
I don't know. I'm saying there might be a reference there that you should look into.
Yeah.
People should look into. I'm not quite sure, but who
Heart's
knows?
still really beating really fast.
I hated Ed.
Oh my gosh. Whew, Andrew, how do you do it? Yeah, okay, so, and also we could think of, if the clue is correct, so whose names have the letter A in it?
Well, I think mostly everyone's. It's just there's a few that don't. So, like he or she said, but I mean, there's CJ, Nick, Lynn, Jack,
Jack has an A in
and
it.
Curtis.
Jack, A.
Sorry, Curtis. So Curtis, Lynn, CJ, and Nick. Is that everybody?
Does Megan have a name?
And Megan.
Had to.
Oh, she has it.
So if that information is correct, then they are omitting those people from. Interesting.
Let's see.
What do we do with this info?
No, the mole wants to be not found out, but I think it's within the spirit of the game to give clues and allow you the opportunity to find out who they are. So I would take that as truth and start eliminating people through the information that's given. Look for clues with what was said. I mean, I would look at that Instagram account.
Timing wise, with those two Instagram accounts that were made, do you think that they are both potentially made by the mole, or do you think that you think it's people?
I think it's separate people. It could be the dynamic duo themselves, whoever that might be. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the actual mole found out about the first account, or the second one's a copycat. I don't know.
To all the contestants, house guests are still there. For me, it's like you need to look at the behavior. If someone's trying to make nice with everyone, that person's likelihood of being the mole is not going to be high. So because they're actively trying not to be evicted. Remember, the mole needs to be evicted in the first 5 weeks, or else they leave the game automatically. And so you need to be really studying the behavior and how people are coming across. And I don't mean overt behavior. I mean the behind the scenes stuff, the little things. Piece it together, follow the clues, and figure out who it is, or else that person's going to come in HOH. And someone's going to go home that week. And if that's you, you're going to wish that the mole was caught and sent out.
Or not sent out.
Or not sent out. But like caught and left in the game to be sent out automatically.
Well, that was definitely worth the wait of the week. Imagine we waited the whole week. That would suck.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have anything else to add for today, or are we going to go start going in our own clue search to find out who is the mole?
Yeah,
I have to find that Instagram account. I don't know.
I'll send you the link to both.
Please do.
Got some screen caps. I actually sent this to the mole. I thought I would share a little Kathy Griffin moment. The winner of Celebrity Mole.
Winner, yep. Saw that season.
Yeah. So any chatty Kathys out there can try and figure this one out.
This was a great Saturday edition. Definitely more than I bargained for. I hope you guys enjoyed tuning in today. We'll see you in a few days at our regular time slot, unless something else crazy goes down. Again, I am Chantele Francis with Realnesss with 3 S's. You can find Jonathan at...
I don't even know. What's my Instagram account? I don't know. Jonathan Oliveira, 1983.
At 1983.
Yeah, there you go.
And Jojo, yours is?
At Joseph O'Toole. Is that backwards? I can't tell.
Correct.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy following the clues. Get it figured out. So
happy hunting.
Stop this madness.
Pew, 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 pew.
Bye.